You ready?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Today we have a very special guest.
Hello.
This is my boyfriend, Austin. We've been together for like a year and 4 months.
Year and 4 months. Yeah. Great amount of time.
So I figured it's time to introduce you. How are you feeling right now?
Feeling good. Yeah. I'm excited to be doing this. It's a little different for me. Not something I'm truly accustomed to doing, but I'm super excited to do it with you.
Austin's a very private person. Kind of the opposite of me. How was it when you found out that I was a YouTuber and made videos and stuff? How was that?
It was interesting to find out about because I haven't really interacted too much with someone in that capacity, and to be, involved with someone like that romantically is a whole new different thing. I wasn't scared or anything, but it was definitely, I guess, a little apprehension to me being on camera. Just I knew it was probably going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
So I guess I was a little nervous about that, but
I feel like I didn't even ask him till like 7 months in. Like, hey, would you ever want to be in a YouTube video? And if you don't want to, it's totally fine.
Yeah, you were so laid back and just no pressure whatsoever about it, and which was so helpful for me.
I know not everybody's comfortable with something like this,
Yeah.
So we asked you on Instagram to send us some questions about our relationship and just to get to know him better. So we're going to answer those questions. So the first question is, how did you meet?
So we actually met through Facebook dating. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. It was, you had just joined, right?
I just joined, yeah. And I didn't have super high hopes for success, but I thought I'd give it a shot. And look where we are today.
Yeah, I don't know. Somebody told me to join and I didn't even know it was a thing. But I'm really glad that I did. We talk about that all the time. Like if we didn't create our profiles, we would have never met. That's just so weird to think about.
It's a really strange thought. Yeah. It's kind of hard to imagine.
So we started talking in the beginning of August, and then we were trying to get together all that month, but he had work and was super busy with it. So we did have 2 FaceTime dates.
Mm-hmm.
Which some people think is weird, but I thought it was really good because I didn't want there to be any awkwardness when we went on our first real date, And I think even in those first FaceTime dates, it was really natural and really easy to talk to you. And I didn't feel any pressure at all. It's just instantly clicked.
Most definitely. I completely agree with that. And, just to piggyback on that idea of Facebook dates, I think it's great. Or FaceTime dates, excuse me. I think it's great. It takes, a little bit of the guesswork out of it. So you're not there's not that super apprehension of not even knowing if you're really going to click when you finally meet in person. It takes that out of it because we clicked very naturally. Everything was easy and it just took the guesswork out of, is this really going to be worth our time? Is this really going to be something that works, or is it going to be really awkward? And it wasn't. It was great.
Yeah.
So I think, for couples who are doing that or thinking about that, or people in the dating world, that's a great option. Highly recommend it.
I think both of us, we didn't want to waste our time.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to meet up if we weren't going to be a good fit. So we wanted to kind of figure that out ahead of time.
Definitely.
And I think that was good. That was a good move.
Excellent move. Couldn't recommend it more.
So tell us all about you. How many instruments do you play? What do you do for a living? What's your age? What are your star signs and your Enneagram? Well, just tell us all about you.
So about me, let's see, 29 years old. I'm born in Denver, Colorado. Lived in Colorado my whole life, which has been great.
We're both natives.
Both natives, which is really neat, and kind of in this day and age, in this state, it's a little more rare. So that's a neat thing. I grew up playing music. It's just my one thing that I'm just always been so passionate about. So I play quite a few instruments. I started around 7 or 8 years old on bass guitar. Got into classical music, started playing violin for a bit, and then discovered the instrument, the double bass, which just changed my life.
Which looks like a cello, but it's larger.
Yeah, I think most people think it's a cello, but it's like a cello that's twice the size. So it's taller than me. If you see something that you think is a cello, but it's twice the size of a normal one and it's taller than the player, it's probably a double bass.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite instrument that I play. But I also do guitar, drums, banjo, mandolin, still do some violin. I'm trying to think of what else. That's probably it for the ones that I'm like really quite proficient
But I
at.
feel like you can pick up any instrument and just start playing it. Like
I do
he's
okay.
a really fast learner.
String instruments are just natural for me. Whatever the tuning or whatever, I just love them. It just comes naturally. Things I'd love to play is like woodwind and brass instruments. I've tried. I can't really do it. One of my favorite instruments, the bassoon, being a double reed instrument. I can't do it. Love it, but just
He's always trying to get me to learn it.
I am, yeah. One other thing I would say I'm super passionate about too, besides Shaylee, of course, would be cars. I absolutely love cars, live and breathe cars. I really, really love like classic European cars, but I like everything. JDM, muscle cars, everything.
And that's his work background.
Yeah, so work background, I worked in dealerships quite a bit as a technician. So I did that for quite a bit as my career. And then now I kind of work on the other side of that, doing kind of more administration, accounting side for automotive like service dealerships. So that's what I do now. The official title would be like warranty administrator. And I do a lot of Porsche, Mercedes, and BMW. And it's been great. It's allowed me a little more flexibility too, where, you know, if I was still at the dealership, I probably wouldn't be able to see Shaylee nearly as much. And I'm really, really grateful that this has allowed me to do so. So
Yeah. And he lives about an hour away, so we typically only see each other like once a week. But sometimes we get lucky and we get to see each other multiple times in a week, like this week.
yeah, get 3 times a week. Had some 4 times a week. Yeah, it's great.
And this morning he went out and looked at my car for me, because if you've been following me for a while, you know I have a lot of car problems. So it's pretty convenient that I have a boyfriend who knows what he's doing.
I'm certainly thankful for that. It's difficult on my end sometimes just because of that distance or time or scheduling or whatever. It can be very difficult if she's having like car issues because I'm not able to be there and take care of it, and it's frustrating because I know that if I could or circumstances were different or whatever, I could. So it's frustrating sometimes. I wish I could be more helpful in her times of need, but I really try my best.
You're so sweet. Your Enneagram number, he's a 9. I'm the one who got him into the Enneagram because I had to find this out.
Certainly. That was definitely really eye-opening for me, and it was, a lot of it is like super spot on, and it's that's something that's really I've gotten into and learned a lot about myself and learned about people, and like something I would have not known about in the past had I not met Shaylee. It's not something I would have even thought about. I guess I was semi-familiar with some of these different like personality types and things like that, but I didn't really know, and I didn't know in depth and like the true reality of that and how spot on it is, and it's great.
Oh, that was one of the reasons why I knew he was the one. Was I sent him a video once of how a 4, an Enneagram 4 and an Enneagram 9 work in a relationship together. And it was like a 40-minute video. And he watched the whole thing and took notes.
I did, yeah. Wanted to make sure I paid attention to that one. It was important. It's important to me.
You're so cute. And he's a Libra.
Yeah, Libra.
So,
yep.
What were your first impressions of each other?
First impressions.
Would this be on our first date, like meeting in person, or our first impressions in general? Maybe both.
We'll start, yeah. I'll just say first impressions in general, where that you were very well-spoken, intelligent. I think one thing that I look for, and it's kind of not as common these days, or going away a bit, is just good punctuation and grammar, even in text. Yeah. And I understand it's not mandatory or it's not super important, but to me it kind of is. It's a good indication of, just kind of how we're going to match up. That was just my immediate impression was, wow. And the other thing just the genuine, like, you're caring and inquisition, like you really wanted to know things about me and truly cared about it, and I could just tell you're just a very genuine person from day one. And I think that was my first impression. And I will say that was probably first impression for seeing you in person as well, was you're just a very genuine person, So I would say, yeah, that's definitely my first impression.
I have to agree with you. The way that you were speaking was so wholesome and cute. Like, I wasn't used to that. I don't know. He was just so cute. I told him, I was like, I'm really enjoying talking to you. And he was like, I certainly enjoy our conversation. I get quite delighted when I talk to you. And I was like, is this guy real? Like, how cute? How wholesome can you be? His wholesomeness was definitely the first thing that, like, was the first thing I really liked. And then when I met him, you were so open on our first date, like, so vulnerable, which I loved.
It's true, yeah.
And it's funny because now that I know you, I know you're not open and vulnerable like that to everybody.
Not at all.
So it's wild. Like, in the first time of us meeting, you were just like, here's my life story. I'm going to pour it all out. But I loved that.
Just really felt like you were a safe place, and I really trusted you, and you really seemed to genuinely care. Again, it was just that you're such a genuine person. It felt comfortable to do so. Which, yeah, if you know me, I would never do that. But it felt very natural. So. Okay,
favorite thing about each other. This one's hard. I feel like you are just the most safe person. Like, when I'm around him, I feel so safe, and he has like such a calm energy. I'm sure you guys can feel it just by watching this. Just being around him is like calming to my nervous system, you know, being in an abusive marriage and then going into this, it was like night and day. And every time that he's around, like, I feel like my whole body just relaxes. And when he's not here, my body's like, where's Austin? Come back. So he's just like a safe place to me, and I feel like that's probably my number one favorite thing. Just how safe and protected I feel, and I know that you would never do anything to hurt me on purpose. Like, I just totally trust you.
It's really sweet. Yeah, I certainly feel the same way. I think probably my most favorite. It's so tough to say most favorite thing, because there's just, I mean, the list is endless.
I know.
But
we could be here all day.
Yeah, we could be here all day. Probably just your compassion, just how much you just genuinely care and like want to help everyone else. Your selflessness is just incredible. Like, that's one of my favorite things too. And just also your passion too. Like, you have just incredible passion about, your beliefs or just helping people. Like, I love that. I think it's super attractive. It's amazing. It's a really wonderful, wonderful quality.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Your selflessness is pretty great too. Well, I feel like you may have already answered this question, but what was it about Shaylee that immediately drew you to her? What were her green flags?
Green flags. Okay. Again, just right off the bat, the grammar and punctuation. Because that's the first thing you notice when you're, online dating. So immediate green flag there. Again, just that willingness.
We were able to hold a conversation.
We could hold a conversation. It felt natural. There was never, and still has never been, anything like forced or like forcing ourselves to make conversation. It's just, everything feels so natural. And it's just, I think that's like the greatest thing about it. It just feels right. It just feels everything's in place. It's great.
And it's so healthy.
It's healthy. Yeah. I've never had a relationship healthy like this before. Like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So, yeah, it just feels amazing. It's just that, I guess, that sense of being cared for and just understood. I think that's another thing, too. It's just your level of understanding, no matter what. Even if it's something you couldn't fully understand, you will try to get to a point where you can. Or put yourself in my shoes or whatever.
And you also have that quality. We both are very open-minded. So, we have a lot of differences. We have more differences than similarities. But because we're both so like open-minded, I feel like it works really well because we're not trying to change each other. Like, we want to hear each other's point of view, and like, I've learned so much from you.
Likewise.
And so that's nice.
It's excellent. Absolutely love it. I feel like I gained so much different perspective into things that I never would think twice about before, or things I hadn't considered, or things I never knew existed, and now I just have so much other perspective, and I love that. I love gaining new perspective. So when you can gain new perspective in a healthy way from your partner, boy, that's something just exceptional, and something that I feel like
Rare too.
So rare, and the people who have it are very, very lucky.
We are the luckiest. What did you think about me having kids?
Thought it was cool. I didn't really know too much of what to expect. In my past, I haven't really been around kids too often. So I just, for me personally, it was just lack of experience. It wasn't really a fear or anything. I mean, there were some, things
we had worries.
Yeah, there were some worries and concerns, and I want to make sure, we're doing things right, and want to make sure it's fair to them. There were considerations, I would say. I didn't really have a ton of concerns, just considerations, and I just wanted things to be okay and meet them when the timing was right and not have anything feel forced or awkward or anything. I guess there were times where I just again didn't know what to expect, but now having met them and been around them quite a bit, it's great. It's just another aspect that I would have not ever dealt with really before. And it's just a whole new world, but it's great. It helps that her kids are great. that definitely makes things a lot better. Just wonderful kids, and it's been a really, really neat experience for me to gain that perspective as well. So, yeah, I think it's great.
When was the first time you realized you wanted to be in a relationship with each other? Your aha moment. Honestly, for me, it was so fast. I don't even, maybe not full on relationship, but definitely I want to pursue this person. The day I met you over FaceTime, even probably before that, when we were just talking before FaceTime, I was like, this is somebody I really could build something with. I just felt that connection with you pretty much immediately. And I was actually dating other men at the time, and I was going on a date with this one guy, and literally the entire time all I was thinking about was Austin. And I did not want to be there. I was just I just want to meet Austin. So I feel like it was pretty immediate for me personally.
Yeah, I would say kind of the same. It was pretty immediate. I knew this was something I wanted to pursue. No question. Felt very natural, and I feel like I would have been silly not to. It was one of those where everything just feels so right. How could you not? So, yeah, immediately, I'll say. Immediately. But as far as to get a little more serious and a little more pointed with that question, as far as specifically knowing I wanted relationship, man, probably first in-person date.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, just knew. I wanted something deep here.
I remember we could just stare at each other. Our first date, we just literally were talking, but we were just staring at each other like this the entire time, which we do all the time anyway.
We do.
But I could never do that with anybody else before you. It was super uncomfortable to stare at somebody in their eyes for a long time.
Yeah, definitely.
And so just being able to lock eyes with you and just keep it and not have it be really awkward was very telling for me.
Most definitely. Completely agree.
I can't stop looking into your eyes now.
Same. And it never feels awkward or uncomfortable, which is crazy because with almost anyone else it would feel so unsettling and please don't.
It really would. What thoughts were going through each of your minds on the first date?
Again, basically just how well things were going, and I just felt immediately comfortable, and I don't know that if I had a ton of thoughts running through my mind. I was just kind of going with it, but it just felt so natural. Maybe that's why there wasn't a ton of thoughts in my mind. I just, again, felt so comfortable to even share so much about my life, and it's just, it felt like things were going really well. That was the feeling and thought that was going through my mind is, wow, this is going really well.
Totally. And he was so accepting at where I was at that point, because I remember telling him on the first date, I was I'm never getting married ever again. It's just not gonna happen for me. And you were just okay.
No.
Whereas I feel a lot of guys would be this isn't gonna work out, I have to have that, you know what I mean? And he was just willing to kind of just go with the flow and see where it was going, and I appreciated that because he was just so patient with me, and still is to this day as I navigate life after divorce and healing and working through all of that stuff. He has just been so patient and has never made me, I almost dropped my phone. He's never made me feel I don't know, it's wrong for me to feel these things, or it's too much and I need to stop. You know what I mean? You're just really patient with me. So
Likewise.
I felt that on the first date. And also, I wanted to kiss you really bad.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
I was glad when you kissed me.
I was very glad that happened.
What do you value the most in a partner?
It's tough to say that there's something that I value the most, like there's one thing above everything else, but there's a few that immediately come to mind. I'd say good communication immediately, just right off the bat. I think I value a lot. Empathy, compassion, honesty, those just immediately come to mind. So I would say that's what I value the most.
We've had a lot of conversations about this, and we really value the same things. Like we've talked about what we value the most in our relationship, and it's like the same qualities. So everything that he just said, I'm definitely on board with, and I feel like most of our beliefs and things we value are totally the same.
Most definitely.
Which is another reason why we work really well together.
Yep. Completely agree.
Because we're like 100% in agreement over all of those things, so.
Makes it really, really a lot easier.
Yeah. Do you have a lot in common besides music? Well, we have our values and our beliefs, and our temperaments, I feel like, are pretty similar for the most part. We're both introverted. So that's a big one. And I didn't realize how important it is to find somebody who's also introverted. I've always been with extroverts. Always. And it was just a lot of energy, and like always had to go to parties and always had to entertain people, and I'm like, this is not fun. And I love with you, we can just be doing literally nothing.
Yes.
By ourselves, and we're like totally happy and content. Like one of our dates, we just sat at a gas station and like watched people and just sat there and talked for like 3 hours.
We did.
And that was all we did.
It was wonderful.
And I've never been so comfortable where I can just sit with somebody and do absolutely nothing. And I feel like a lot of that is being an introvert, and having that in common, I think, is really nice.
But it's wonderful. Yeah,
we'll always choose like staying in together versus like going out and partying or like doing something crazy or fun or whatever.
Most definitely. Yeah, I think from my perspective, we're opposites in a lot of ways, but in the important ways that really bring us together, we are very, very similar. And I think it makes our connection super close. And to piggyback on what she says, it's great to, have someone who will also choose like staying in versus going out to party or, having like a ton of extroverted energy. That can just be exhausting for someone like us. So it's, we're very, very grateful to have that. It definitely has made things much easier. And again, much more natural because nothing really ever feels forced.
Yeah. And I think it brings like a level of understanding too, because we do not live together yet. But when we do, we're both going to totally understand when the other person's like, I need an hour to myself. Like, it's nothing against you. I just need to like be completely by myself and recharge. Like, we both understand what that feels like. Whereas I feel like with more extroverted partners, they'd probably like be offended by that. Like, you don't want to hang out with me.
Yeah, that's
and it's
for
not
sure.
that. It's just we need our recharge time. So we definitely understand that about each other.
Most definitely.
Okay, what were the kids' thoughts when Shaylee told them she was dating somebody? I was not expecting this reaction from them at all. If you listen to my podcast, you've already heard this story. But I told them that I had a boyfriend, and they started jumping up and down with excitement. They were like, oh my gosh, yay, yay, yay. And I was like, what? Because, I was so nervous to tell them. And I did tell my ex first. So we were just waiting for the right moment, and it was like 6 months in at this point, and that's what we had written in our divorce agreement, was to wait at least 6 months. So once 6 months hit, I was like, okay, let's do this. I just wanted to make sure he was somebody that was gonna like stay in my life and somebody I was really serious about before I introduced him to the kids. And they were so excited. They immediately wanted to talk to him. They were like, can we call him right now, right this instant? I'm like, well, let's just wait a little bit. And then they started literally planning our honeymoon. They were like, haven't you always wanted to go to Norway, Mom? You could go to Norway with Austin. And I'm like, funny enough, he's always wanted to go to Norway as well.
True story.
And so they were like, perfect. You guys can go to Norway together. And, we'll go to Grandma and Papa's house and they can watch us while you're gone. This is all before they even met him. It was wild. I was not expecting it, but I was so happy about that. And then I think you talked to them on the phone before you met them.
I did, yep.
And then you met them in person, and it was like instant clicking. Like, no awkwardness, no weirdness, just instantly clicked together, so.
Just feels normal. Yeah, again, it just, everything feels so natural and not forced, and it's great. It feels like how I feel like it should.
And they love him.
Yeah.
They love being around him. They were so excited when he spent the night last night because they just don't see him very often. What are your favorite things about the kids?
Favorite things about the kids? Probably just their, for one, just their energy. It's amazing to see just like how much energy and just that youthfulness, and I love that. I love just, you know, there's certain things they have with like their Nintendo Switch or whatever, where it just takes me back to like having a Game Boy or, you know, something. It takes me back to things in my youth, you know, and I love kind of that connection to just youthfulness. It's great, you know. So that's wonderful. They're both very sweet, kind, caring. They're also, and a lot unintentionally, but they're hilarious too. They just make me laugh. So.
Well, especially when you're not used to kids and like the funny things they say.
They just some of the stuff they say, it's like, what? And it's great, you know. I love it. It's so fun. It's a lot of fun energy. And I'm, you know, again, used to like just kind of quiet, kind of low key. So that energy.
He's an only child.
Yep, I'm only child. So that has been a little adjustment for sure. Sometimes it can be a bit chaotic, but it's never bad. I just
it's just different.
Yeah, I find that I have a hard time focusing on then just one thing, and then my mind and attention gets jumbled, and then I'm like just
life of a parent.
Out.
Life of a parent.
Like, oh, I'm just spacing out. I have no idea what's happening around me, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it. It's fun.
It makes life fun for sure.
It does make life fun.
The ultimate question.
The ultimate question.
If we get married, do you want kids?
I wouldn't be opposed to it for sure. Like,
yeah, we've talked about this a lot.
I don't really have a particular desire to have, you know, any kids of my own. Like, I'm not against it or anything either.
It's
like,
just never been something that all your life you've been like, I want to be a father.
Not particularly, and I think now too, especially like now that my partner has kids, and they're, you know, kind of older. They've gone through some of those like difficult early stages. You know, if I were to not have kids that were, you know, from my blood or whatever, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's great. I have no problem with that. They definitely fulfill that. If I had that longing in my heart, her kids are there to fulfill that anyway. So I'm pretty neutral to it. But I don't really have any particular desire to.
I feel like I'm pretty neutral too. Some days I'm like, I really want more. But then other days I'm like, my kids are older now and it's nice. They can do everything for themselves. And I'm past those hard stages, which you've heard plenty of stories about. I've probably scared you in that regard.
Sounds great. Yeah, sounds like a blast.
So, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being in my video.
Thank you for having me in your video. This is definitely, again, something I'm not super accustomed to. So, apologies, guys, if I'm weird in the video or something.
Stop. You're not weird.
But this has been really fun. It's interesting to be on camera. Again, though, with you, it just feels very natural because I just get to be me.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing I'm really doing differently.
I wasn't like, before I turn this on, make sure you behave.
Nope. This is just me. You're getting, what you see is what you get.
Yes. Well, I know I speak for a lot of people watching this video. Everyone has been able to really see a difference in me since I've been with you.
That's great.
And have said that, you know, I'm glowing. So that's all thanks to you.
Love to hear it. Love to see it. That's wonderful.
I love to see you.
I love to see you. It's very mutual.
All right, well, thanks for watching this video.
Thanks for watching.
We hope that we answered all of your questions. I guess if you have more, you can leave them down below. Maybe Austin will be in future videos.
Certainly. Look forward to it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.